how you doing? This is Peggy Richards Patty, and this is Through the Back Loop. It's a knitting podcast. I've been absent for almost a half a year, actually. I looked back and June, I think it was June 7th was my last episode. So I've missed you. I hope you're doing well. I'm not sure why I didn't do a podcast before now. I think, I don't know. I don't think I'm a rule follower. So I started feeling sort of pushed into, or that it was a rule that I should follow to, monthly, at least monthly, create a podcast. And something in me just sort of resisted, and so I thought, well, I'll just wait until I'm really ready. And so today, here I am, and I'd like to welcome you. I have enjoyed so many podcasts, knitting podcasts lately. To all the people that did Vlogmas, thank you so much. I know how much work goes into it, and I really love just watching people talk about their knitting. And it kind of makes me feel guilty that I have been so negligent. But anyway, here today, I have lots to show you. It's almost like instead of a year recap, it's like half a year, because it's been almost 6 months since I've been here. So I'm just going to jump in and kind of talk about what the stack of things that I have here, and hope you have a chance to relax and knit and join in the conversation below. So the first finished object that I have, well, I'll start with what I'm wearing, and I'm sure almost everybody recognizes this sweater. This is one that I've had off the needles for a while. This is the Soldatna by Caitlin Hunter. I think it's one of her most popular patterns. It's a DK weight yarn, so it goes relatively fast. I did mine out of Barocco, and so it wasn't expensive. It is cropped somewhat. I think I ended up making mine longer than the pattern actually called for, but it's a great day for it here. I'm in Oceanside, California, and it's totally wintry here. It's rainy and chilly, and just perfect sweater weather. And so anyway, I think that's another reason that I felt like doing the podcast today. I was like, oh, it's all cozy and time to wear sweaters. So I hope you're cozy wherever you are. So this has been, I don't know how long ago I made this, but it's been a while. But a more recent finished object is this pair of socks. These are the Rainbow Socks by Kay Litton, and I created these out of leftover yarn that was kind of supposed to be sort of a rainbow color, but the repeats were so long. I made another pair of socks for my mom. I actually sent them to her for Mother's Day, and believe it or not, they got lost in the mail. I was absolutely heartbroken. I have filed a claim for lost package and all this other stuff. They've never found it. I don't think they ever will. But there was leftover yarn, and these repeats, I guess that's the right word, or the length of before the color changes were so long that it doesn't look like it's rainbow at all. Like this is kind of an aqua color, and then you can see where it starts kind of changing to red here. But anyway, these were, how many stitches did I cast on? I cast on 64 stitches. They're on a size 0. And I really like this pattern because it really kind of hugs your foot. That stitch pattern on the top, and then it's just regular striping on the back. So the yarn changes every two rows. So it's really easy to count your stitches because, all you do is count, by twos, and it's really easy therefore to create another sock the exact same size. But these have been off the needles for a while and just waiting for me to podcast. And actually, I think they look like summer colors, so I'm not sure how much I'll wear them until next summer, but we'll see about that. Top down, I am finding that I like size 0 needles better than 1 because I like my socks to have a lot of negative ease. And so I think I'm going to go, these are 64 stitches. I think I may go down to even 60. These fit pretty well, but I just really like my socks to be tight. So anyway, regular heel flap and gusset, and the rounded toe, just like the pattern calls for. But great little socks. What else do I have? Oh, the next thing, and I'll put a picture up. My hairdresser had a baby, and it was in October that her baby was born. And so I'm going to put a little picture up of the little pumpkin hat that I made for her. Some of the things that I've made, I've gifted, and so I'll have to just put pictures up. But making a baby hat just cheers me up. I remember different stressful times in my life. If I'm like down in the dumps, all I need to do is make a baby hat and I'm instantly better. So anyway, it was her first baby, and I just really wanted to do something for her. So I'll put that picture up. That was made from just, actually it was one skein of orange that I had bought up at the yarn store in San Clemente. And, the green portion of it was just some yarn I found in my stash. The next big project that I finished that I loved, and almost everybody in the world has knitted this, is the half and half triangle wrap. It's, as you know, probably, it is a free pattern from Pearl Soho, and this is made out of the famous linen quill. And if memory serves me correctly, I think this color was the mushroom, and this one was flamingo. And this project was everything that everybody says it is. It's just like floating on a cloud to create. I mean, it took me a minute. Like all patterns, I have to get kind of used to the pattern. It has German short rows, and then I did the slip stitches at the edge so that it made a really pretty smooth edge on it. And I think it was Leslie Friend that did a little tutorial on that. So thank you, Leslie, if you happen to be watching. But this project is, Caddy Jacks was doing their knit along and for Rhinebeck. And so I kind of jumped in kind of late, but I did finish it in time. Unfortunately, did not win any of the prizes, but this is just as dreamy as everybody says. I have not worn it lately. I should, because it's so chilly out. But I can see why people want to knit several of these, even though it is a huge project. I think, I'm trying to remember how many skeins. Gosh, I've already forgotten. Is it 2 and 2? I think it is. It's either 2 and 2 of each color or 3 of each color. Now I can't remember. But huge number of stitches. But it is like I said, like floating on a cloud. And a lot of people knit this during the most stressful part of the pandemic. And I can totally see why. It was just such a relaxing knit, very calming. I can see why people want to knit more than one. I probably won't, simply because it is such a huge project and there are so many other things that I want to knit. So I probably won't make another one. But I totally understand why people want to and why it's so calming. It's just probably one of the more calming Zen projects I've ever knitted. So totally get why people are raving about it. So I knit that shawl, and I went from from this project being so, calming and filled with, I don't know, introspection and getting centered and all that stuff. So I went from that project to another shawl project that was just the opposite. And this is one that a zillion people have made as well. And it's Stephen West's shawlography. And I will also put up some pictures, but here it is in all of its glory. This was just the exact opposite of the half and half. It was like being on a crazy roller coaster ride. There were surprises around every corner. I know everybody's talked at length about the fantastic tutorials. Gosh, I'm trying to even remember, just all these incredible, it was divided into 4 sections, and every Friday for 4 weeks, you got different clues. So there were 4 different clues. And then the tutorials were just as everyone described, so easy. I mean, these funny little things that people started calling shrimp, just these gorgeous slip stitches, the welts, the little bit of color work, the baubles, the brioche, this crazy crisscross pattern, which I've completely got. My numbers were off. My crisscrosses don't exactly align with my stripes. And then the last part of it, and I know there's been a lot of discussion about the last clue. I ended up modifying this a bit and doing the scalloped edge. I'll try to link it below, the woman on Ravelry that a lot of people did this. I also was kind of like, didn't feel like that last section matched the rest of the shawl, but I don't know, the scallops kind of help pull it together, I felt like. And I also didn't do all of my colors on the last section, those stripes. What did I leave out? I left something out. Now I can't remember. I left out the whitish yellow, that sharp neon yellow. I just thought was a little too jarring. So I left that one out. But the whole time I was, thinking, oh, these colors are too wild. I have everything from like this orangey mohair yarn all the way to the neon yellow that's mixed in with the cream and purple and green. And I was just like, oh my God, I think I'm going to hate this. It's too wild. And it really, just like I said, surprises all along the way. And it wasn't until the very end when I actually blocked it that I felt like it all came together. And I ended up loving it. And I've worn it, believe it or not. I thought, oh, I'm probably not even going to wear it. This was just an adventure and I'll just have it on a chair or something. But the drape is really fabulous. And I've worn it several different times. It won't look great with this sweater, but the colors, once it was blocked, I felt like it all just came together. And, my husband kept, he couldn't help but sort of pay attention to what I was doing. And he kept saying stuff like, it looks kind of Native American. It looks terrible with this sweater. I shouldn't even try to put it on with this. But I felt like it seemed, for a while, I was thinking that it seemed kind of Eastern European like colors. And then when he said it looked kind of Native American, I was like, oh, maybe so. But anyway, the big surprise at the very end was that I absolutely love it and that I actually wear it. So, gosh, has there ever been a more genius knitter in the universe than Stephen West? I definitely will do it again next year. And it was really fun, like just, getting into all the hype of there were over, I don't know how many projects there are on Ravelry, but at one time, I think when we first started, there were like 7,000. So there's probably way more than that now. And everybody was into it. And my San Diego knitting group, we only meet on Zoom. But not all of us did it, but how many? There were 4 of us that did it, 3 of us that did it, and then my neighbor Angela jumped in too. And it was so fun to see all the different colors. And, just along the way, we had a text thread that we were like, oh my God, what is this? And, and it was just fun to travel through that experience with other people. So I definitely will do it again. I had chosen to do this instead of all the gift knitting that I normally do that time of year. Usually I start my gift knitting for Christmas in October, and this started October 1, and I didn't finish. It was hard for me to keep up. I know I'm a slow knitter, and that was proven over this experience one more time because, I was trying really hard. I was knitting a lot of hours every week, and I just couldn't. I think the first clue, this part, I think I totally met the deadline. And then on clue 2, I think was this section. I can't remember now. I just couldn't keep up. I got behind. And I mean, not that I was that, dead set on totally, meeting those deadlines, but I wanted to try, and I just couldn't do it. And so I'm a slow knitter, and that's fine. But I'm really glad that I decided not to do a lot of gift knitting this year, because I would have felt the pressure a lot, because I think it took me, instead of 4 weeks to complete it, it took me almost 6. And I was pretty much knitting, monogamously on just this. But I love it, and it's just the craziest knitting adventure I've ever been on. So anyway, I think I'll do it again next year. It was just super fun. I was really scared about some of my yarn choices, because I did put mohair in it, and the mohair is a lot thicker, and then on the brioche, that orangey is the mohair, and the baubles are the mohair. And what happened was, I'm fine with it. I don't care now that it's blocked, that there's different textures and different weights, but I did run out of the mohair. So this stripe right here is actually mohair. But then I had to go buy some more yarn that was like similar in color. But of course, it's not exactly the same texture. And at first I was like, and I was fretting over that. But once it blocked, it was like everything just kind of came together, and it didn't matter. So again, pretty exciting adventure, and I'll definitely do it again next year. The last year's gift knitting, I did a pair of Christmas socks for everybody. And I'm glad I didn't do that this year, because this year, when we all started getting out our Christmas socks and stuff, nobody could find their Christmas socks except for my husband and myself. So I'm like, okay, it's a good thing I didn't stress over creating a whole bunch of stuff, because nobody really cares anyway. No, sorta. They do sorta. Anyway, that was my favorite knit of the year for sure, because it was just surprising and shocking and such an adventure. All right, so that moves us on. Oh no, I'm going to put a picture up of the Magnolia Bloom by Camilla Vod. That was going to be my Christmas sweater this year. And my daughter saw me knitting it and said, oh, I'd really love to I love that. And so I gave it to her. So she's been promising me a picture So far I haven't gotten it, but I'll put it up here for you to see at least while it was blocking. And that one was from Wool of the Andes from Knit Picks, and I held it with a piece of held it with lace weight, which was also from Knit Picks, and that was the Aristo. And I'm glad I put that with it because the Wool of the Andes is it's a worsted kind of just very workhorse type yarn, and that lace has a little silk in it. Excuse me, and it just kind of, I don't know, dressed it up just a tiny bit. So I'm really glad I put that together with it. I did knit the yoke, and my gauge swatches have been tricking me a lot lately. I think I have it down, and then I don't know if I change, the tension when I'm knitting it after I knit a swatch, or why I keep getting tricked. But, Patty Lyons would not be proud of me because it seems like I'm getting better and I'm getting worse instead of better with my gauges. So on that Magnolia Bloom, I knit clear down to here and realized, oh my gosh, this is too big. So I ripped it all back out and went back on a smaller needle. I think I started off on like even a size 11, which was way too big, but I thought that's what my gauge was telling me to do. And then I went back and did it on a 10, and that made all the difference in the world. So anyway, yeah, picture is up here, hopefully. But anyway, that moves us on to what I'm working on right now. I am working on a sweater for my son that's actually called the Saddler, and I got the pattern off of Brooklyn Tweed's website, and this is with Brooklyn Tweed yarn. This is their shelter, and it's a dark forest green. It's not picking up real great color-wise, but it has little flecks of yellow and kind of a cream or a beige in there. That's sort of picking it up. But my son, he bought a wool sweater from Etsy, and it's a really old one, and I'll put a picture up. And he loved it, and it was so cute on him, but when I saw him in it, I was like, oh, you have a bunch of little holes. And he goes, yeah, it came that way. He goes, I don't really care. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I said, it's going to come. I was surprised that it wasn't unraveling. And so I said, give it to me and I'll see if I can fix it. And I found this incredible way of fixing it with thread. And I will put the tutorial below if you'd like, because I found out that even if you can match the yarn, it's not as good of a fix as it is with thread if it's all wool. Anyway, I hope that makes sense. But anyway, he loves that wool sweater so much. I fixed it up. I fixed all the holes, and it just made me want to make him a nice sweater that, that's not, 40 years old. And that doesn't have a bunch of repairs. So I got the Brooklyn Tweed shelter. That's what this is. It's worsted. This is the front. No, this is the back. And it's called the Straddler. I'll put a picture up. I'm not going to do the stripes on it. I'm just going to do a solid. And I used that old sweater to get the measurements because he obviously loves that sweater so much, because every time I see him practically he has it on. And so like I had measured the older sweater, and it was like 40 inches, circumference, and I got the length that he likes from the armhole down. And this is actually going to be pieced. It just looks like a big rectangle from here, but Most of the sweaters that I make are usually top down and there's not a lot of seaming. So I think a lot of the Brooklyn tweed patterns are, you have to mattress stitch the pieces together. But when I looked at the old sweater that I fixed, that I repaired, I noticed that it was done in pieces, and there was just something about the construction of it that just made me respect that, the integrity of the structure, and so I thought, yeah, that'd be kind of fun to just do something a little bit different. So this is what I'm currently working on, and it's on size, let's see, is it, I'm trying to remember what size I'm working on. Let me look in my little knitting book. Oh, I didn't even write it down. I think I'm doing, is it a 5? I can't remember. I'll put it below what size the needle is. But it's going relatively fast. It's simple. It started with a tubular cast on and 1x1 rib and then just stockinette. So it's relatively easy. I would say the most challenging part is just making sure that I'm getting my measurements, like I need. And, I have to keep kind of measuring and making sure that everything's going as it should. But other than that, it's a super simple pattern. And so I'm looking forward to finishing that up. So that's what I'll be concentrating on in the next few weeks. I'm not sure what I'm going to do after that. I have some projects and some stash projects that are on my shelf that are kind of yelling at me. So I'm really planning on doing something that I already have the yarn for. I know a lot of people are trying to do that these days, and I think it's so worth it. I know when I purchase, the quantity of yarn to create a sweater or a shawl or whatever it is, I'm making a personal commitment to that project. And I just feel like I'm not following through on my commitments if I don't actually really make those things. So I'm not sure exactly which one I'm going to do next, but when I'm done with the saddler, I'm going to choose something that I already have yarn for here. The last part today that I wanted to talk about, it's been such a long time since I've been here. Lots has happened in our personal lives as far as all good stuff. We've gotten to spend time with our kids and had great holidays. And, I had a birthday. It was kind of a big birthday for me. It was, I hate to even say it out loud, but it was my Medicare birthday. I turned 65 and I am in huge denial of that. But, I had to sign up for Medicare. I'm like this old person that's trying to pretend like I'm not. However, there's a lot of other things that remind me that I am. First of all, my Invisalign that I have my speech issues from, and I know I'm not the only one. I don't know if you watch Gina on Skein Cocaine talking about her Invisalign, and Leslie Friend apparently has Invisalign right now. So I'm glad I'm not alone, but definitely has changed my speech a bit. I'm not having any issues with it. Poor Gina had like bleeding and all this other stuff, and I didn't have anything like that. No real discomfort or anything. But as if that wasn't enough, I ended up, you may notice, I have a new pair of glasses. I had new glasses, expensive ones from my, not from online, but from my eye doctor, and I put them on the dash, not on the dash, where the wiper is on the outside of my car. We were at the beach and we were loading everything up. We were saying goodbye to some other people, and it was just multitasking. I'm finding out when I multitask, that's when things go wrong. Anyway, get in the car, driving down the highway, and something flew off. And I told my husband, I think I might have gotten a parking ticket and didn't realize it because something just flew off. Well, then after we got home, I'm looking everywhere for my regular glasses and couldn't find them, and it was my glasses. So these came from Zenni, and I don't know if you are familiar with them, but oh my gosh, they are such a great company. These were on sale, but I only paid a little bit more than $100 for them, and they have progressives and all the extras, and they're great. So at least I made it a little bit less painful by not going back to the eye doctor and buy the more expensive glasses. So between Invisalign, my new glasses, and then the latest old person thing that I'm dealing with is, and I shouldn't even be saying all this. I should just be keeping my head in the sand and pretending like I didn't have my Medicare birthday. But I guess my arches on my feet have changed, and I have this callus on the outside of my foot that's been so bad that it started to hurt. And when I went to the doctor this last summer for my physical, my own doctor said, oh, I asked her about going to a podiatrist, and she goes, oh no, just go on over to the Good Feet store. So I'm like, okay, well, my doctor told me to do this. So I went over there. It ended up costing me a fortune. And I think I was nervous about being in there during COVID. Even though I was double masked, I was still nervous because this guy's mask kept falling down. And, I had to say something to him like 3 different times. But anyway, then I was shocked of how much they were going to charge me. And I just kind of froze and did it. Well, now that is not working out. I would love to hear below if anybody else has had a good experience with the Good Feet store or bad, either one, because I'm in the throes. I called them and said, oh my gosh, I've only had it like 2 days, but it's causing all kinds of other issues. Like I never had any hip pain. I never had any pain at all. And now it's like worse. So if anybody has any pointers on that, please let me know, because supposedly you can't get your money back. So if I can't get this resolved, I don't know what I'm going to do, because it was a lot of money. Anyway, sorry to bore you with all of my old people problems, but that's where I'm at. And other than that, all is well. We did have some work done on our pool this summer. It's a 26-year-old pool that was showing its age just like me, and needed a little, concrete work and resurfacing on the plaster. And so we did all that. And that was like a huge project. So there we go. That's my excuse for not podcasting. All the construction around here. No, not really. But I just want to wish you well, wish you Happy New Year. 2022, here we come. It has to be way better than the last couple. I hope we can get past this pandemic, and I hope you're staying safe. And if you noticed, wrong way over here, there's Ollie. He wishes you Happy New Year as well. Take good care, knitting friends. I promise I won't be gone so long. Wishing you all the best. Bye.